back to the YouTube channel of Pro Enzo Vids, and this is my round 12 tips for the 2022 NRL season. So I kind of stuffed up last week with thinking that last week was actually Indigenous round, but no, this week it is, and it's a very special round. Obviously, a lot of history and a lot of respect should be shown to those that are amongst the Indigenous sort of community in general, I guess, and it's a very important week of recognising the people who I guess sort of just lived here first before us and stuff like that. So they really lay a foundation. But yeah, no, it's gonna be a good round of football as well. Like, look at some of the games, it's gonna be a very big one. So I'm looking forward to seeing how each game goes, and should be a good round of footy. But I'd like to also say as well, before I do get into the whole tipping video and the whole analysis and everything, just want to say a massive happy birthday to a brother out there, and that's Nick from Australia. I'm sure you all know who he is. He's a great YouTuber, someone that I've known for a couple of years now, and he's definitely helped my channel a lot, and he's helped a lot of other people out there as well. So happy birthday to you, Nick. Hope you had a great day, mate, and hopefully the Cows get up for you on Friday. And got to say as well, I will be meeting Nick from Australia at the Panthers Cowboys game on Friday. He'll be coming to Sydney, so yeah, like, we'll have to do a big meetup. A couple of other YouTubers will be there too, so it's gonna be a very fun night. So I can't wait for Friday. It can't come quick enough. So but anyway, getting to the round 12 tips now. So the first game is my boys Manly up against the Storm. Yep, so Melbourne and Manly at Amy Park in Melbourne. It's a rivalry game. Obviously, it's nothing better than having a rivalry game on a Thursday. I know that it's a bit one-sided when you look at one side of things, I guess, with who Storm have and who Manly don't have, but it can be a very good game as well because of the rivalry and just how, I guess, as of now, how both sides are going, because both sides haven't been winning games recently. Obviously Manly were close against Parramatta, but we all know what happened there. Don't want to talk about that game anymore. But as for Melbourne, yeah, I mean, they've struggled without Hughes, Pappenhausen and Nelson, so they've lost a lot of key players, and they do get Hughes back this weekend. But if he's fit to play, that's the only question, but that's a big in of his players. So getting into the ins and outs and changes for both sides. So Jerome Hughes, yes, makes a return from a calf injury, which means Harry Grant goes back to hooker and Brandon Smith to go back to the jersey 14 role. Nelson is still out of a knee injury, while Tui Kameka starts at prop, and that's about it. As for Manly, well, Ruben Garrick is the person, and all the players should say, that will be replacing Tom for most of the season at fullback. So yeah, hopefully he does a good job, and he is a reliable player, so I'm sure he will. Well, the big news is that George Tafua, as we remember, Big George, he's back for Manly, and it's his first game since round 17, 2020, so far out. It's great to see him back. He's obviously a very good clubman, I think, and he's done a lot for the club before, and I think he won't disappoint on Thursday, that's for sure. Martin Power is out this week. I'm not sure why, but this means Ethan Bullimore starts on the bench while Sipley starts at prop, and Jason Saab's amongst the reserves for maybe a return. All right, it's going to hurt again, but my tip for this game, I think Melbourne will be a bit too good, especially if Hughes plays. It should be enough to get them the win, so I'll tip Melbourne by probably 14 points. Anytime try scorers for Melbourne, I'm going to go Olam and Meaney. And as for the Sea Eagles, I've got Tui Pelotu, and I've got Davey for one as well. Now onto the game I'll be at, actually, and this is the Panthers and the Cowboys, a very big game. And I would never have thought that this would be very tough to pick, but now it is. And now that the Cowboys are in good form, I'm like, well, there you go. They're definitely going to compete with the Panthers, that's for sure. So, yeah, I'll be at this game, obviously, meeting Nick and a couple other YouTubers I'm sure we're all aware of, like Sam, CJ, all that Champa. So it's going to be a very fun night for sure, and I'm looking forward to it. So going through the ins and outs now. So for the Panthers, they've got no changes to the team. But as for the Cowboys, they've got a couple, unfortunately. We've felt out for 6 weeks with a knee injury, and Tamalolo's out with a knee injury as well. So they're going to be extended periods of time, and that means Tamisa replaces Phil on the wing. Cohen Hess will start lock to replace Tamalolo, and Jake Granville and Tanura Brown are both the new names on the bench. Okay, well, it's tough because it's at Penrith, and Penrith don't lose in Penrith too often, but they did lose it against Parramatta, so anything's possible. But I like the Cowboys here. I like the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys will play very well, and I think they will, get the win, and they'll, turn up. I think, I know it's a bit hard to say, especially with how Panthers going, but the Cowboys are full of confidence. Who would have thought that they would beat the Storm by 30 points? So I've got the Cowboys this week winning 1-12, obviously, by about 4 points. I still think Penrith are a good chance of winning, but I think Cowboys can do it. Come on, Cowboys. And anytime try scorers, Toto, Crichton, and Tulungi and Hess. Now, the main game of Friday now, excuse me, that is the Broncos and the Titans at Suncorp Stadium up there in Brisbane. So, a little bit of a big brother versus little brother sort of thing going on here, as we know of, and it's always good to have a Friday night or Queensland Derby, I should say, on a Friday night. So, very interesting game coming up. Going through the changes and teams for both sides. So, Adam Reynolds is actually out again. So, Reynolds still has a hamstring issue. So, he'll be out for another week, which means Ezra Mambu, who made his debut against Newcastle, will play again. And that's a good experience for him, I suppose, getting opportunities like this. And that's about it. That's the only changes they've got. As for the Titans, Brian Kelly replaces Philip Samuel on the wing because Philip Samuel has a knee injury, which means also Jermaine Jolliffe comes onto the bench for Herman Esiesi, who moves to reserves, and David Fafita has been included in the squad actually, and could be a chance of playing if he gets cleared. So, look, it is an interesting game, but I think that with the way Broncos are going, they should win with all the momentum. So I think Brisbane by probably 10 points, and I think anytime try scorers will be Oates for a double. I'm pretty confident in that. It's scoring every week, and Colbert will score one as well. And as for the Titans, I think Kelly will score a try. I think he will. Now, on to Super Saturday now. It is the first game of 3, obviously, as we should all know. Shouldn't be mentioned in that, actually. But anyway, it is the Warriors and the Knights at Redcliffe at Moreton Daily Stadium is where they're playing at 3 p.m. So, a game which is very important for both sides, I believe, because both sides need to obviously get a win to stay in contact with finals still. They want to still play finals. Personally, I don't think they will, none of these sides, but it's important because to stay within a chance, I should say. So it will be an interesting game, but going through the ins and outs of both sides now. So as for the Warriors, it means Chanel Harris-Tavita returns to 5'8", and I'm a bit confused because I thought he was stop playing for a bit, but must be his last game before he does that. So he returns to 5'8", with Dejan Assi moving to reserves. Fanua Blake's a big loss, and he's out for a while with a foot injury. That's a very big loss. So Tavaga goes to prop. And Freddie Larsick will start hooker in Tavaga's place, with Tango Otokolo joining the bench, and Denarmas Louis, who signed with the Warriors yesterday, he has been included on the reserves. As for the Knights, Anaris Wala comes in for Bradman Best with a dislocated elbow at left centre, while Jay Clifford is back after a 3-week break, replacing Adam Clune at halfback, and this means also that Clifford will partner Anthony Milford in the halves, so that'll be interesting to see. So let's see how Milford goes the second time playing for Newcastle. My tip for this game, I will go the Warriors because they're at Redcliffe, and I think that's an advantage because they don't really win much games apart from being at Redcliffe, I think. So I think the Warriors will get a win here by about 2 points. I'm not going to go into this game with any confidence. I'm sick of tipping the Warriors sometimes because I do stuff up my tips, but because it's at Redcliffe and because Newcastle are very average at the moment, I think they'll get the win. And my anytime try scorers, Walsh will get one. I believe Freddie Larsick will get his first try as well. And as for Knights, I'm going to bag in Edric Lee for a double. On to the second game on the Saturday. It is the Rabbitohs up against the West Tigers at Accor Stadium. So both times these two sides are playing each other. So it will be interesting to see if it remains Tigers 2-2 or it'll be Souths this time getting a win. We'll have to wait and see. But getting into both sides now. So Cameron Murray is actually listed among the reserves, so he looks like he could be a chance to play very soon. I don't know if it'll be this week or maybe next week, but he's on track for a return, so that's good. And also returning this week is Mark Nichols, and this is Mark Nichols' first game since round 4, so he's back from an ankle injury. He joins the bench with Hame Sile promoted to the starting side, and Trent Peoples dropping out of the side for Mark Nichols to come in. And then Totola, Milne have both been named and will be monitored after suffering head knocks against Canberra. So there's all the changes there for South. As for Tigers, Dane Laurie is returning back to fullback. That's a big in for the Tigers there. Luke Brooks back to 5'8" too. And also Tyrone Peachy and Jock Man drop out, with Asuka Poa returning from COVID, so he starts the wing with Junior Tupou dropping out too. And Jake Simpkin returns at hooker after getting a head knock, which means Little goes back to reserves, and Nofluma has a concussion and he could be back this week, but he's named in reserves so far. Now this is a very tough game to pick because Souths have been a bit of iffy form, whereas Tigers, have improved a lot since the opening 5 weeks. But looking at it, I think Souths win. I think they can do it. I will tip Rabbitohs to win 1-12 and probably by 8 points. But if they lose, then I'll look stupid, obviously, because I think Tigers can win this one again. But I think Souths will bounce back this time. They have to. So I'll go Souths 1-12, and Campbell will score a try and Taft will score a try, and Brent Nathan gets his first try for the Tigers. And I believe a bit of an interesting one is Garner will score 2. And on to the final game of Super Saturday. It is the Sharks and the Roosters, an absolute blockbuster. This is a game where I think can go either way as well. Looking at how both these sides are going, it's like, okay, Sharks have been in good form, but have dropped off a little bit recently. As for Roosters, they find their best form again after having a couple of patchy weeks. But this week, it is a very interesting clash. I do think this can go either way, like I said, and should be a good one as well in Cronulla at PointsBet Stadium. Getting to the ins and outs, and you have both sides. So Will Kennedy is back at fullback, so he returns from suspension, obviously, which means Lachlan Miller goes to 18th man. Talakai's picked up an ankle injury, but he's been named to play. And as for the Roosters, Tupanua returns from a head knock, and that means he'll come onto the bench and plays with Egan Butcher. And Terrell May made his debut against Penrith will keep his spot on the bench too, so good on him. But my tip for this game, it's tough. It is a tough one to call, but because it's in Cronulla and the Sharks have not lost the game at Cronulla all year, I think the Sharks will win by about 6 points, and I think it'll be a good game too. So I think they'll win just, and I think I'll go Kennedy to score a try in his comeback, and I think also McInnes will score a try, and I think for the Roosters, Tedesco Tupou will score 2, but should be a good game. On to the next game on the Sunday. So Sunday footy. This is another game I'll be at, actually. So I'll be in attendance for this game too. Dogs and Dragons at Belmore. Not far from me at all, this ground. I can legit walk there. But, it's always common for me to go to a game at Belmore whenever there is one there. There's not too many games there. So I guess, whenever there's a game there, I'll just take the opportunity and go, I guess. So should be good. And looking at both ins and outs now. So Addo Carr's back for the Bulldogs on the wing due to illness, so he's back. That's good in for the Dogs, especially Indigenous round. I know this round means a lot for Addo Carr. So Ockenball makes way, and Corey Waddell returns from a head knock into the back row, so Joe Simpson drops to reserves. As for the Dragons, McCulloch makes an early return from the thumb injury on the bench, and that means Jane Sullivan to the reserves, and Kay Ramsey keeps his spot at fullback, which I expected. My tip for this game, I think the Dragons will be a bit too good for the Bulldogs. But the way the Bulldogs are going, it's going to, I don't know, I just can't get a read on them, unfortunately. But Dragons are in better form, so I'll tip them by about 10 points. And I'll go Ramsey for a try, Ravalawa for a try, and I'll go also Max King for a try in the back row. I like that for the Dogs. And now on to the final game of round 12 for Indigenous round is the Raiders and the Eels. A very interesting game as well, and a big one too, because looking at how Raiders are going, they've won 3 games in a row, and that's for Parramatta. Inconsistent, yeah, but they're still winning games, and they're still around the top 4 area. So it'll be a very good game, actually, this one. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Ins and outs for both sides. So I'll start with the home side in Canberra. So Jamal Fogarty is set to make his club debut for the Raiders after getting an injury in the off-season. So he's flying back for the Raiders, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes in his first real game for them. So that means Jared Croker is back also from a shoulder injury. He starts in the centres. Which means Shida drops out for Fogarty, and Seb Chris moves to the bench then. And Nicholas Lockstead will miss the game due to a hamstring injury, which means Xavier Savage plays fullback, and Ryan Sutton joins the bench, and Harry Rushton drops out. As for the Eels, Wagga Blake makes his return from a knee injury, which means on the wing for Hayes Perry drops out. And Michael Seo has made a successful return, and he will be playing this week for the Eels as well, so very big in there. My tip for this game, you know what? I'm tipping the Raiders to win here. I think Canberra can get the win here. It's in Canberra. It's on a Sunday afternoon. Fogarty's back. I think that's enough for me to tip the Raiders, and I think they can get the job done here. They've got a lot of momentum. They're playing some really good footy. Parramatta are inconsistent too, so it's really a toss of the coin game. But I like Canberra. I could just see Canberra winning here. They've got a bit of a roll on now of their form, so it should be a good one. So I'll tip Canberra by probably 2 points. Actually, no, by 6 points. 6 points, I reckon. It'll be a bit more than that. So, and I think Jack White will score a try as well, and I think Matthew Timoko will score for the Raiders, and that's for the Eels. I think Gufferson will get a try, and I think Seaburn in his return will score one. That's nearly guaranteed in my opinion. But anyway, that's my round 12 Indigenous round tips. Hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the very next video. Don't mind that. That was for cross country today.